You're watching Adorama TV.
Hi everybody, welcome to Adorama TV iPad app reviews. I'm Mark Wallace. Well, today we're looking at a very powerful application that's called the photographer's ephemeris. Now, ephemeris is a word that really describes a book or a tablet that describes the rising and setting of the sun and the moon and where it's going to be at different times of the year. It's just a chart of tables. Well, that comes to the iPad in this very, very powerful application where you can look at any day in any year in the past or in the future to see exactly where the sun's going to be at any time during the day, and the same is true of the moon. You can check out altitudes, you can do all kinds of different things to really plan your photo shoot. Now, this is a very powerful application for scenic photographers, travel photographers, and anybody that needs to really know where the sun and moon are going to be at any place on Earth at any time. So let's take a closer look at the photographer's ephemeris. The photographer's ephemeris is an awesome application that was really made well known as a desktop application, and now it has come to the iPad. And it really has two modes. It has a mode in horizontal orientation and one in portrait orientation. So we're going to start by looking at the horizontal orientation. Now, what this will do specifically for you is show you when sunrise and sunset are. That's these orange lines here, and where moonrise and moonset are, and that's the darker blue lines and lighter blue line. And it will do that by any location in the world on any date. And so on the right hand side, you'll see that it has today's date with the sunrise and moonrise and sunset and moonset and the moon phase. And you can just go in here and look at any date. So there's a little calendar here. So I could say, what's it going to be like here in 2013? And instantly it shows me how things will change. If I want to go see 2005 to know exactly when it was there, I can go backwards or forward in time. It's really, really nice. Or I can just say go to today, which is really nice. Now, the other thing you can do is you can click on this pin here and you can move it around. So if I zip in here and push that pin, and I push and hold, and I can drop it over here to the New York Public Library, and then I can see exactly when the sunrise and sunset are and how those are coming in. So it's really, really nice. You can look at any location in the world. So for example, if you don't know an exact location but you know a place, let's say you're going on vacation to Paris, I can go in here and type in Eiffel Tower, and I will say take me to the Eiffel Tower. And this is smart enough to know, because it's using Google Maps, exactly where the Eiffel Tower is. And sure enough, if you've been to Paris, you'll recognize that that's exactly where it is, right by the river. And so we can see exactly where sunrise and sunset is. And then if you know you're going to be there, say, in June of 2011, you can say OK, and you can see exactly where sunrise and sunset is. And so you can plan that, which is pretty cool. It's really, really nice. Okay, there are some other things that I want to show you, but what we need to do is we need to flip this into portrait mode. As soon as we get this into portrait mode, you'll see that the display over here that was on the right-hand side of the horizontal mode was, it's magnified. So we have more information here. So now we have just one day instead of several days. And then over here, we have some additional information about the azimuth and the attitude and the altitudes and all the different angles of the sun and moon and where they're going to be. The other thing that's a significant change is there's this second pin that shows up. So here's the first pin, here's the second pin. And what that allows us to do is we can put this second pin on a different location to say, how far away is that? And is there an elevation difference in those two pins? And so what I'll show you in a second is how that can really help out landscape photographers in a scenic environment where there are some elevation shifts. So for right now, I'm just going to show you that there's a second pin that shows up. Now, the other thing that you can do just to know that this is indeed Paris and the Eiffel Tower is there's this little gear here. I can say I want to show this as satellite or hybrid. So I'm going to show you a satellite image. And so then we'll click off of that. And then what will happen is this is going to load in the satellite data. And you can see that that is indeed the Eiffel Tower. And look how close that got. It's just right at one of the legs of the Eiffel Tower. So it's really cool. So you can see satellite data, and you can see exactly where you're going to be standing in a certain location, so you can really plan out your photo shoot. Now, I'm going to put this back on just the normal map here, and then I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so we can see more of Paris. So what we have now is at the bottom of the screen, we have a little slider and it says 24 over here. Now what that means is now I can slide this back and forth to see at different times of the day, and you can see over here the times are changing, where the sun and the moon are going to be. And so you can say exactly, you know what, I want to see this at the Eiffel Tower, the sun streaming right through. Well, I need to be there at 11:40 a.m. So you can see exactly when you need to be somewhere on a certain day or certain time. Or if you want to see exactly where the moon's going to be, you can do that. Now, if you really want to tune things in, let's say that we're really going to be specific. I'm going to get in here really, really tight. I can change this to a single hour just by tapping on that. And so now I can really see exactly how the sun is going to shift within the hour, not within 24 hours. So I can really, really be picky about where the sun or the moon is going to be in a specific location. Now let's say that you're a serious photographer shooting in Wyoming. You want to go to the Grand Tetons. So what I can do is I can just type in the Grand Tetons, and so that is a famous mountain range in the West if you're unfamiliar with it. And so we're going to go over here, and it just looks green, and the reason for that is because there are no roads in the Tetons because they're really big mountains. So I can sort of zoom out and say, you know, where exactly do I want to be when I'm shooting the Tetons? Well, over here, if you've ever been there, here's Jackson Hole. And I'm going to turn on the satellite. I'm actually going to do the hybrid. So I can see the mountains and the roads at the same time to sort of figure out where do I need to be when I'm shooting these mountains. And I can see there's some roads over here. So I'm going to take my main pin here, and then I'm going to drag it over to this road. So that's where I'm going to shoot from. Then I'm going to take my secondary pin, and I'm going to drag this onto the top of this mountain range, right at this peak right here. And now what I can do is I can see that there's a shift of 3,500 feet. So this is 3,500 feet taller than where I'm going to be. And what I really want to do is I want to figure out where the sun is going to be setting or rising. And so I can see, aha, right here at 6 o'clock p.m., the sun is going to be coming right over those mountains, and I know that's where I need to be to get a really, really amazing shot of this mountain range with the sun going over with me at that exact location on this date, which would be June 4th, 2011. It's really, really cool. Now, the other thing you can do is you can check out different dates. So let's say, well, I'm not going to be there then. I'm going to be there on March 4th, or today. And then look, you can see, well, it's not really possible. I'm never going to get that shot because the sun doesn't set there. It sets too far to the south. So you can check exactly when you need to be at a certain location on a certain date, and you can see what the elevation changes and see how that changes where the sun's going to be. You can either put in custom horizons. So let's say you're shooting in maybe New York City and you know the height of a building. You can type that in and you can figure out when the sun's going to set over a building. It's really, really an amazing application. And so we've got that, we've got dates, we have this thing here, so we can adjust for the horizon, elevation above horizon. So if you're putting in custom horizons, that's where you would be doing that. And then you can also lock the secondary pin so it stays put. And so you've got that. Then you can do some visual searches. And so you can say, you know what, at this location I want to know when the next last quarter is for the moon. Or you can say, I want to know when the sun alignment is going to be. And so you can start looking to see exactly where the sun is going to align to the second pin from the first pin. So you can go through by date and say, I want to shoot from here to here. I want to see when the sun's going to line up at those dates, and it'll tell you when to be there. So this is a really, really powerful tool for scenic photographers or location shooters. Now, because this is such a powerful application, there are some built-in help files here, so you can just click on this little book here, and here are the help files, and it will show you all the different things that are in detail, all the different things about this application. So if you're trying to figure out exactly how to move those pins around or set horizons or those types of things, well, the help file is built right in. And so you can see exactly which buttons do what and how to do all of the advanced things that we didn't have time to dive into today. And so right there, built-in help file that will really make sure that you can get every single penny's worth out of this application. And I think it's one of the most powerful photography applications that I've seen, one that you'll be using for years and years. Well, that's the photographer's ephemeris. Now, we had so much to talk to you about. There's one little feature that I forgot to mention, and that is that you can have built-in bookmarks. So if you find a location that you really love, you can add that as a bookmark and come back to it at any point when you're using this application. So let's say we got that Grand Teton shot all set up. Well, I could just bookmark that, and then when I actually months later went to go shoot that location, I could just pull it up as a location or a saved bookmark in the application to know exactly where I needed to stand when I take the photograph. So bookmarks are really powerful to make sure that you have everything locked in as you're planning out your photo shoots. So once again, that's the photographer's ephemeris. It's a really, really powerful application that I highly recommend for anybody that's outside shooting and doing any kind of photographic work. Well, thanks for joining me. Remember, if you find an absolutely awesome application like the photographer's ephemeris that you'd like to see here on our show, please send me your suggestion to AskMark@Adorama.com. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you again next week.
This episode is brought to you by AdoramaTV. Visit the Adorama Learning Center where you'll find photography tips and techniques, links to the gear used in this episode, and related videos. For all the latest photography, video, and computer gear, visit Adorama.com. And the next time you're in New York City, visit our store located on 18th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue.